Doctors. Now, no matter where you go, we've got your eyes covered.
Do you have any idea, or do you have any guess whether he may succeed on the first vote?
I have no idea. It's not obviously not up to me. It's up to other people.
I'm supporting Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker because he's very smart, very talented, and he's a Democrat. He's got the right values for the people, the majority of the people in this country.
We've read that if there is no speaker in a couple of weeks and we get to January 20th, you become the president. Is that something that you're ready for?
Ask me when it all happens, and I'll be glad to answer your question.
Good morning from NewsNation in Chicago. I'm Nick Smith. It's opening day for the 119th Congress. There are 75 new lawmakers this session, 12 in the Senate and 63 in the House. For many of them, it's their first day in Washington. The GOP has full control of both the House and the Senate, but that majority is thin. In the upper chamber, Republicans hold 53 seats compared to Democrats' 47. And in the House, Republicans have the smallest margin of control in modern history. They won 220 seats compared to Democrats' 215, but with Matt Gaetz' planned vacancy, Republicans have just 219 seats. That's only a 4-seat majority. In the next hour, the House will vote for the Speaker, and Representative Mike Johnson's chances for a second term rest on a razor's thin edge. He is able to afford just one no vote from fellow Republicans in order to maintain control of the gavel. NewsNation has team coverage of today's vote. Our Brooke Schaefer is live outside Mar-a-Lago on President-elect Trump's reaction. But first, let's start with Joe Khalil on Capitol Hill. Joe, it sounds like some Republicans are still weighing their options as we come down to the 11th hour.
Yeah, they are. For Mike Johnson, he is still not at all certain that he's going to have the votes to win the Speaker's gavel. In fact, it's entirely possible that it could take several votes today. You talked about the math here for Mike Johnson. He has 219 Republicans. He needs 218 votes to become Speaker. We know he's not going to get any help from Democrats at all this time around. So you can only afford to lose one. And that one appears to be Thomas Massie, who has already dropped off. If he loses any more Republicans, literally one more, he is not going to have the votes that he needs. And already there are still about a dozen or so who have not committed to supporting him. One of those people, Congressman Andy Harris, who chairs the House Freedom Caucus, which is filled with these sort of hardline conservatives. Andy Harris told us just last hour or so that he's still not certain that he's going to vote for Mike Johnson. We don't know. What we do know is President-elect Trump is going to be exerting a lot of pressure on the people who are against Johnson right now, and we've heard it from Speaker Johnson and others. Take a listen to what Congressman Andy Barr told us. He is one of the more than 200 who firmly is in the camp of Mike Johnson about those who are not. So if it goes more than one, do you expect exactly the message you just gave me now, the sort of pressure campaign, and do you expect Donald Trump also to weigh in himself and say, guys, start to vote?
I do. This is a test for every Republican member. Are you on the team or are you not? Are you with President-elect Trump or are you not? And I suspect that if members are not supporting the team, not supporting this America First agenda, they're going to hear from President-elect Trump very shortly after that vote.
Are you on the team for Donald Trump or are you not? Andy Barr put it pretty clearly. We've been told that is going to be the message that several Republicans who are supporting Mike Johnson put forward. If this does take several rounds of voting, we don't know whether that will be the case or whether he can maybe surprise some people and get it done on the first vote. I can tell you Tom Emmer, the Republican majority whip, this is the man whose literal job it is to count the votes, walked into the Speaker's office last hour and told several reporters there, including our team, that Johnson will have the votes today. He sounded confident, but again, if we've learned anything about this Republican conference, it is that they are unpredictable. They can often be a little chaotic, and they can often buck their own party. So let's see in an hour or so when voting starts whether that happens.
Not only are you on the team or not, but if you're not, you will hear from President-elect Trump. That threat alone could get some to make sure that they support Johnson. But those who are holding out, those objectors, Joe, what is it that they want?
Well, we've heard from a couple of them privately. Some say that their more hardline conservative members need spots on very powerful committees, very influential committees, like the Rules Committee, for example. And there are questions about whether Chip Roy, the congressman who is already on that committee and in the Freedom Caucus, might rise to the chairman of that committee. There are those kinds of asks. There are also asks that sort of go along with their ideology, fiscal conservatism. They want to see if there are spending bills moving forward that they're not adding to the deficit, but that those bills are going to be paid for by other cuts, by other means. But those are things that they've been making as demands, and also some rules right now that the House Republicans govern themselves by. Several of these hardline conservatives like those rules. They don't want to see them change because it gives those few minority an advantage, even if 200 Republicans in the majority oppose them. So those are the kinds of things that were on the table, and we'll see whether they get their wishes, whether that results in their voting for Johnson, voting in just an hour or so. So we'll see how it goes.
And Joe, no one wants to see 15 rounds to secure a speaker, and I'm sure Mr. Johnson doesn't want to be in a position where he loses his job in 90 days like Mr. McCarthy. Joe, Khalil, thank you so much. Let's bring in News Nation's Brooke Schaefer live from Mar-a-Lago. Brooke, Speaker Johnson and President-elect Trump had the opportunity to hang out over the holidays. They chatted about a number of things, we're assuming. What more do we know about their meeting?
The House Speaker said that he and the president-elect were really strategizing ahead of today's vote. We expect Trump to be watching this vote this afternoon very closely, and we've been told that he is ready to make phone calls to Washington, D.C. if he needs to. But already the president-elect has been expressing his support and his confidence in Speaker Johnson on social media. On Truth Social earlier this morning, Trump writing in part, "Good luck today for Speaker Mike Johnson, a fine man of great ability who is very close to having 100% support. A win for Mike today will be a big win for the Republican Party," Trump wrote. Trump, for his part, on New Year's Eve here at Mar-a-Lago, echoing that same confidence in Johnson, saying this to reporters when asked about his complete and total endorsement of the speaker earlier this week.
He's the one that can win right now. People like him. Almost everybody likes him. Others are very good, too, but they have 30 or 40 people that don't like him. So that's pretty tough. We're going to have a great time. We're going to get a successful vote. He's a good man. He's a wonderful person, and that's what you need.
President-elect Trump and Speaker Johnson spent New Year's Day together here in Florida at Mar-a-Lago, mapping out a game plan ahead of today's vote. And as we've been saying here, Nick, the vote today will also be a real test of Trump's influence on House Republicans ahead of Trump's second administration. We have been told that the president-elect is ready and willing to make phone calls to lobby on behalf of Speaker Johnson if he has to. Nick?
Brooke Schaefer with the latest from Mar-a-Lago. Brooke, thank you so much. News Nation Politics is powered by The Hill, one of the most read D.C. publications in the country, and its team of journalists working the halls of Capitol every day. That includes Michael Schnell, congressional reporter for The Hill. Michael, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Hey, Nick. Good to be here.
Good to have you. Michael, you just wrote an article for The Hill titled "Johnson Battles for the Speakership, 5 Things to Watch Out For." Let's talk about them one by one. First, let's do the math, Michael. You say it's tough. How tough is tough?
Extremely tough, Nick. Look, based on where things currently stand, Republicans have 220 seats in the House. Democrats have 215. But as was mentioned just before, former Congressman Matt Gaetz has said he does not plan to take the oath of office. That means the numbers are going to be 219 to 215. Now, in order to win the speakership, you need to have a majority vote in the chamber. That means the magic number here is 218. Speaker Johnson can only afford one defection and still clinch the speaker's gavel, and he's already lost that one defection. Congressman Thomas Massey, Republican of Kentucky, has said that he does not plan to vote for Mike Johnson under any circumstances. That means that if all lawmakers are in the chamber today and vote for a specific candidate and more than one Republican votes against Johnson, he does not win the gavel. Now, things get a little wonky if anyone votes present or if anyone is not in the chamber and does not actually vote during that roll call. But as things stand right now, Mike Johnson cannot afford to lose more than one Republican supporter, and he's already lost that one. A number of other folks are undecided. If any of them defect and do not support Mike Johnson, he does not win the Speaker's gavel.
Michael, then you have the detractors. Who are the wild cards that will or make or break this vote coming up in the next hour?
Yeah, the top of that list is Thomas Massie. I mentioned him before. He's a Republican from Kentucky. For a few weeks now, he has said that he does not plan to vote for Mike Johnson for Speaker. He re-upped that position as recently as last night, saying he would not support Johnson under any circumstances, telling Matt Gaetz on his new news show that he plans to vote for another member of Congress, though he did not say who that was. Massie has taken fault and taken frustration, rather, with Johnson for his handling of various big-ticket pieces of legislation throughout the 118th Congress. He's criticized Johnson for teaming up with Democrats to pass foreign aid for Ukraine, to fund the government, to renew the U.S.'s warrantless spying powers and other matters. So he right now is the only hard no that we know of publicly. But as I mentioned before, there are a number of other undecideds, roughly a dozen hardline conservatives who, as recently as this morning, said they still do not know how they plan to vote, and they're not giving reporters any indication of what direction they're leaning in.
Michael, you also talked about the demands. Overall, you say they want spending cuts. We get that. But rank and file members involved in talks for big pieces of legislation. But there are also some individual concerns as well. Tell us about those.
Yeah, and this is, Nick, this is where it gets really difficult for Speaker Johnson, right? Because he has to manage all of these different demands and all of these different requests. If you appease one person in one corner, that could potentially turn off another person in the opposite corner. It's a very complicated balancing act. So you talk about these demands. Victoria Spartz right now, a Republican from Indiana, she's probably the undecided Republican you should keep the closest eye on. She's known as being an unpredictable voter here up on Capitol Hill. She's a bit of a wild card in this situation. She put out a statement in just recent days calling on whoever becomes the next speaker to commit to a number of these fiscal spending demands. So that's Victoria Spartz. Another person that we at The Hill have reported on is Congressman Andy Harris. He's a Republican from Maryland. He's the chairman of the conservative House Freedom Caucus. Andy Harris, we can report, was frustrated with how funding for the rebuilding of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, frustrated with how that was handled in the government funding bill last month. So those are sort of the two individual concerns. Another thing that we're hearing a lot about just this morning is there's this push among hardline Republicans to install Congressman Chip Roy as the chairman of the Rules Committee. Now, the Rules Committee is a very powerful, important panel up here on Capitol Hill. It's the last stop for all legislation before it hits the floor. Roy currently serves on the Rules Committee, but a lot of Republicans are now pushing for him to be the chairman, which would be it's a highly unlikely move because Roy has bucked leadership in the past on rules. That would also likely turn off some moderate Republicans. We heard from Speaker Mike Johnson this morning. He said he does not plan to cut any deals. So keep that in mind as we talk about all these different demands and requests for commitments. Again, in just really the final minutes now until the speaker race. We're under an hour until the 119th Congress gavels in.
Michael, don't get tired of me yet. I've got one more question for you, though, because you mentioned all the hoops Kevin McCarthy had to jump through to secure the gavel 2 years ago, 15 rounds of a vote and then booted in only 90 days. Is Mike Johnson a guy willing to jump through those same hoops, or will this time be different?
Johnson has indicated he doesn't plan to make any of those side deals, similar to what McCarthy had to do to clinch the speakership back in 2023, about 2 years ago from today, and that's what ultimately led to his demise. I spoke to Mike Johnson when he entered the Capitol this morning. I asked, what is your final message to these roughly a dozen holdouts, which is hours to go until the vote? He told me that he is not making any deals with these holdouts. He wants everyone to unify, come together to be able to carry out President-elect Trump's agenda. Now, that's one difference from the Kevin McCarthy era when McCarthy tried to make a lot of different side deals. Another thing here is that during the McCarthy speaker race, we heard from all these hardline House conservatives, and they had very specific demands. For example, lowering the threshold to bring a vote on ousting the speaker to just one member. That was a key demand among those hardliners. This time around, the requests, the demands, the commitments we're hearing from these holdouts are more amorphous requests, things that have have to do with agreements for spending cuts and commitments to open up the legislative process going forward. They're not specific. That's another key difference that a lot of folks have pointed out, again, as we get very close to this vote officially kicking off.
And then there's the threat of Mr. Trump calling those who don't secure their vote for Johnson on the first round being rallied by him directly. Michael Chanel, you and your team at The Hill power our politics here at News Nation, so we thank you. Be sure to tune in tonight for a special edition of The Hill on News Nation, the 119th Congress opening day. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central, right here on News Nation.
I know, while this person committed a terrible assault on the city, the spirit of our New Orleans will never, never, never be defeated.
Still ahead, the new details we're learning about the suspect behind this week's terror attack on Bourbon Street. Plus, with a new session of Congress being sworn in today, we're tracking the uphill battle for many of Trump's cabinet nominations to be sworn in. And right now, a live look at Capitol Hill, where in the next hour, a new session of Congress is set to begin.
My name is Nick Begich, Congressman for all Alaska. And my message to the people of Alaska is we have to open up this state so that we can produce as a nation again. I want to be your voice in Congress. I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and I thank you for that opportunity to serve you.
When you live with diabetes, progress is having your coffee like you like it, without an audience. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor tracks your glucose in real time, so everyone else doesn't have to. And over time, it can help lower your A1C. Confident choices for more control of your life. This is progress. Learn more and try for free at freestylelibre.us.
Your business needs to hire someone now. So, in addition to managing your business, you have to go through hundreds of resumes and hope for the best. Or you can go and get the best. Introducing Paychex Recruiting Copilot. It uses AI to help find potential candidates from millions of profiles, whether they're looking for a job or not. Then, it helps you get in touch and get them hired. 5 times faster than job postings. Get your own Paychex Recruiting Copilot now at paychex.com/TV.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for.
Sling lets you do that.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for and let me pause my subscription when I want. Sling let you do that. Yeehaw! I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for and let me pause my subscription when I want and have hundreds of free channels. Sling lets you do that too.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, she came out fighting. 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on, 5 different medications. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx can save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. You do the math, the money we're able to save with using GoodRx, we're able to do all these extra activities. She can hit hard, too, for a little skinny thing. So it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
See why hand battered is better with the $6 chicken basket. Our 100% white meat chicken is always just a batter dip away from becoming its own golden treasure. Batter up. Make our app your first mate and order ahead to skip the wait. Long John Silver's. This year.
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Businesses everywhere are turning to Gusto for payroll, benefits, and more. Save time. Save money. It's no wonder Gusto is G2's #1 product for small businesses. Get started for free at gusto.com.
It's easy to save on car insurance with Insurify. Insurify made getting coverage easy. It felt effortless. In fact, it's easy peasy. Insurify, the easy way to save on car insurance.
Welcome back. 18 minutes after the hour. New developments in that devastating attack on Bourbon Street. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will travel to New Orleans on Monday. Here's a live look right now at Bourbon Street, courtesy of EarthCam. The area now reopened to pedestrians with heightened security. It's a stark contrast to the chaos that erupted just 2 days ago. Serious questions are being raised about the vulnerability of bourbon. A confidential security report from 2019 highlighting that the bollards meant to protect pedestrians and divert traffic were not functioning properly, a concern that apparently went unaddressed for years. But last night's Sugar Bowl game became a moment of unity for those in the Big Easy. Following the national anthem, the crowds erupting into chants of USA. NewsNation's Brian Entin joins us from Bourbon with the very latest. Brian, what is the mood like now? Because many were concerned about the Sugar Bowl, and it looks like it went off without a hitch, and the mood seems to have shifted a bit.
Yeah, Nick, went off without a hitch. You know, we were out here on Bourbon Street last night, and it was crazy. I mean, it was full of people you would have never even known that a terrorist attack had happened the morning before. And even today, just kind of feels like things are getting back to normal in New Orleans. I want to show you, this is Bourbon Street. You can see they're letting all the delivery drivers in today. That's typical. But it's just weird to stand here, Nick, and know that this is pretty much the spot right here where the terrorists drove down in the truck and ran over so many people, 14 dead. All the way in the distance there where you see that white truck in the middle of the road, that's Canal Street. So that's where he turned on. He made it all the way. I didn't realize until I came out here how far he made it all the way, several blocks, about a block and a half or 2 blocks that way. So he was able to mow down people for quite a ways, which is, it's disturbing when you stand out here now and everything looks so normal and you think about what happened here just a couple of days ago. I want to show you some video though, Nick. This is video we just shot. This is down near Canal in Bourbon. This is a memorial that was set up by the community. There's, 14 crosses out there. There's people who have written messages, and it's just kind of a place where people are gathering and reflecting on what happened as this community still sort of comes to grips with all of this. I think a lot of people here are still in shock. Then you've got the investigation side of it. Still so many questions about exactly what led up to this. We don't know a ton about the alleged terrorist. We know obviously that he was in the Army for about 10 years, that he had been radicalized. His family says that he started changing over the last year or so. One of his exes said that she became concerned that he was acting dangerous, didn't want him to be around the kids. So we know a little bit, but obviously behind the scenes, the FBI doing a lot more investigating, trying to figure out exactly what led up to all this, Nick.
And Brian, you're telling us now also there's even more information we didn't know about the bollards not working. You and I have been to New Orleans many times, and those things sit right in the middle of the street. You can't get anything back and forth. So I think many were surprised by not only learning that they were not functioning the morning of the attack, but also the information that you broke about the flag. And we've now confirmed that tie to the Islamic State.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we got out here, the witnesses were all telling me, hey, there was an ISIS flag on the back of his truck, and it was covered up. We saw it right after the attack, and it turns out there was the ISIS flag, which was really the first sort of hint that this was definitely terrorism and that this guy was radicalized. So that was interesting. And then you talk about the barriers. Still questions out here why they weren't up. We know that they were under construction. They're getting ready for the Super Bowl, they say, so they were, beefing them up. Super Bowl is going to be here in New Orleans in February, but a lot of the visitors and locals, too, are saying, like, why was all the focus on the Super Bowl? You keep hearing, oh, we were beefing things up for the Super Bowl. We were getting the security plan ready for the Super Bowl. We were doing construction for the Super Bowl, but, they had the Sugar Bowl, they had New Year's Eve. The city was packed. People are frustrated that all the emphasis seemed to be on the Super Bowl, but in a way, it seems like they forgot about all these other events.
Mardi Gras just a few weeks away as well. NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Entin, thank you so much. Right now, authorities are expanding their investigation into the suspect, examining 3 cell phones and 2 laptops linked to 42-year-old Army veteran Shamsuddin Jabbar. NewsNation's Xavier Walton is in Dallas with the latest on this investigation into Jabbar. Xavier, what more are the feds saying about the suspect they've identified in that Bourbon Street attack?
Well, Nick, after FBI had done extensive research, even, going through his phone records, social media, and then taking away data from 3 cell phones, and then again, 2 laptops from that Airbnb in New Orleans, not far from where Brian Entin is. At this point, they have said they have found no evidence of active communication or coordination with any other suspects, or for that matter, terrorist organizations. Meantime, there was another investigation, this one in his Houston home. Outside of it, you see the doors here. This is what's left after the search warrant was executed. I actually spoke to the landlord of the property, obviously knew the suspect here and had no idea that Jabbar was capable of doing something like this. They're still processing everything. In the meantime, the FBI, they say he posted publicly about supporting ISIS, including 5 videos to his Facebook page, but again, did not appear to receive any direct assistance or instructions from anybody else. That's why investigators are feeling confident he was a lone wolf. He acted alone. We're also learning more. Brian just mentioned this too about Jabbar's service in the military. While serving in the U.S. Army, he was highly decorated, even receiving an award for global war on terrorism. Jabbar was U.S. Army active duty from 2006 to 2015, then Army Reserves from 2015 to 2020 when he was honorably discharged. And one other thing, Nick, authorities say that he initially had planned to hurt his family. This goes back to what Brian was saying, but then changed his mind because the political messaging, in his words, just didn't seem right.
Xavier, there are still questions, too, about not only the attack Jabbar committed on Bourbon Street, but also the attack, the explosion at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Has there been a connection between the two?
Well, certainly people are trying to make that connection, but authorities are saying, not so fast. Obviously admitting there have been some similarities. Right off the top, you could say both men served this country, both served in the Army and had stints at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. However, there's no proof or indication that they served at the same time or in the same unit. Both deployed to Afghanistan in 2009. People found that out, but there's no indication they served together there either. In both incidents, each did rent their vehicles from the online site Turo. So just that right there alone, there are a few odd, unusual coincidences, but nothing definitive, which is why the FBI says there's absolutely no link between the two just horrible, horrible incidents that occurred on New Year's Day.
Xavier Walton with the very latest. Xavier, thank you. I'm joined now by the former mayor of New Orleans, Marc Morial, who's now the president and CEO of the National Urban League. Mr. Mayor, I have to tell you, I know your wife, and I know how she has reacted to this personally. Can you tell us on a personal note how you felt and what your reaction was when you heard the news?
I was angered, stunned, shocked. These 10 people, maybe as many as 15, who've lost their lives were young, bright people in the earliest stages of their life and their careers. This is a heinous act of hate, an act of terrorism, but it also defies some of the conventional thinking about domestic terrorism that sometimes promoted, that it is being carried out by people who've come across the border illegally, or it's being carried out by foreign nationals. Here you have an American citizen, an Army veteran, both here and in Las Vegas, who have committed acts of senseless, unwarranted, despicable violence. So I'm hurt and I'm angered. But one thing I have confidence in, that is in the people of New Orleans and its leaders to fight back, to be resilient, to be strong. And my appeal to people across the nation is to rally around the city and its people. New Orleans today could be your hometown tomorrow. These acts of hate, acts of terrorism, know no geographic bounds. They do not follow any particularized script. So it's so important to understand that, while at the same time I am, we're all in great pain to see this happen on Bourbon Street, one of the most important streets in the world, a place of festivity, a place of fun, a place of history, to be scorched and spoiled by this heinous act.
And I have been there many times, like I said myself, so I am very familiar with the sense of the familiarity and how upbeat the mood is every time you go. You've called for tighter security operations. What specific measures do you believe need to be in place?
I think there needs to be a full and complete assessment because, as you mentioned in the earlier segment, it's not just about the Super Bowl. It's about 24/7. People visit New Orleans, crowds descend on New Orleans all the time for weddings, for family reunions, for leisure trips, for music festivals, for Mardi Gras. And the security around the area has to be fortified, tightened, and strengthened. So I think the important thing I would encourage local officials to do is to conduct that assessment. The city should lead the assessment and should come back with specific recommendations as to what to do. Now, there's a role for the state. There's a role for the feds. New Orleans is an international destination. It's a city known throughout the world. It's a place where people visit from all 50 states, every territory, every foreign land. So New Orleans has to be treated with the same importance as New York was treated after 9/11. Equivalent treatment, not just point fingers, but identify those solutions that will give confidence that going ahead, it will be safe.
Mark Morial, the former mayor of New Orleans and the current president and CEO of the National Urban League. Mr. Morial, thank you so much for joining me. And again, our condolences go out to those who have lost their lives and prayers to your city.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Could we see Congress reject any of President-elect Trump's nominations for cabinet members? Who is the least likely to be confirmed, and what's next if those nominations are rejected by Congress?
Watch your step. Oh. That's why VisionWorks makes it simple to schedule an eye exam that works for you, even if you have a big trip to plan around.
Thanks.
I mean, I could see you right now. That's convenient. VisionWorks. See the difference.
If you love cleanliness as much as your cat, you have to try Pretty Litter. I love that it's low dust and it traps smells, but that's not why I founded Pretty Litter. I made this litter with a built-in health monitor to let you know if your cat is experiencing a potential health issue. Visit prettylitter.com.
Let's Monopoly go! Chris! Kiki! Ready, tycoons? It's go time! Cash grab!
Kiki, I won again?
Ah! Daddy will be back soon! We're swimming in it now!
Rinse do!
Busted! Nothing beats playing with friends, except bankrupting friends. Give it to me.
When migraine strikes, do you question the trade-offs of treating? Ubrelvy is another option. It works fast, and most have migraine pain relief within 2 hours. You can treat it anytime, anywhere. Tell your doctor all medicines you take. Don't take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Get help right away for allergic reactions like trouble breathing or face, tongue, or throat swelling, which may occur hours to days after use. Common side effects include nausea and sleepiness. Migraine pain relief starts with you. Learn how AbbVie could help you save on Ubrelvy.
Hey, can you speak French?
Who, me? I know a few words.
If you're struggling to speak a new language, you should try Babbel, a learning platform designed by over 200 language experts. It's like having your own personal language coach. Babbel offers live classes with expert teachers for real-world conversation practice. It's totally flexible, so you can learn at your own pace. And with the right practice and coaching, start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Go to Babbel.com to claim your limited time offer today.
If you're 50 or over, you can be taking advantage of everything AARP has to offer right now. Join AARP for $12 for 1 year, and your second membership is free. Get instant access to discounts on everyday purchases, eye care and prescriptions, and tools and tips to help manage your money and maximize your health. Plus, AARP fights to protect your Social Security, Medicare, and more. Join and get an insulated trunk organizer free, plus AARP the magazine. Call or go to joinaarp.org now.
Victims of mesothelioma and their families may be entitled to receive a cash award from the estimated $30 billion in asbestos trust funds now available. Over $50 billion has been awarded already. If you have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by asbestos, call the number on your screen now. We have served victims of mesothelioma and their families nationwide for over 30 years. We have successfully recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for thousands of our clients. Even if a family member has passed due to mesothelioma, you may still be entitled to a cash award. So call now for your free evaluation. We want to help victims of mesothelioma and lung cancer, and your families get the financial compensation you deserve from the estimated $30 billion in trust funds now available. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call 1-800-878-1692 now or visit us at mesofund.com.
Welcome back. 34 minutes after the hour. Once the 119th Congress is seated, the real battle begins for the new Trump administration, getting the president-elect's cabinet confirmed. While some of his cabinet picks are shoo-ins, others have caused a lot of controversy. Trump's original AG pick, Matt Gaetz, is already out, but other nominees' confirmations might struggle to win a confirmation as well. Nominee for the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, a fierce Trump loyalist, has called to close the FBI's headquarters in Washington, drawing the ire of Democrats in the Senate worried about the president-elect weaponizing the FBI while still in office. Former Democratic lawmaker turned director of national intelligence nominee Tulsi Gabbard is also in the spotlight. She's accused of amplifying Russian propaganda, and one aide even said she is the most at risk of not making it. And then there's noted vaccine skeptic and former independent presidential candidate RFK Jr. He has also faced scrutiny, especially after voicing concerns about the polio vaccine and taking aim at agriculture-related issues that could impact the bottom line of some farmers, leading to some GOP lawmakers indirectly warning him to watch it. Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense is likely the most controversial nominee. He denies accusations of sexual assault and alcohol abuse and has been meeting with key Republicans in the Senate. NewsNation Politics is powered by The Hill, one of the most read D.C. publications in the country, and his team of journalists working the halls of the Capitol every day. That includes Alex Bolden, staff writer at The Hill. Alex, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Let's start with who might not make it. Aides say Tulsi Gabbard will struggle. We're now hearing that there are other nominees that may not do so well, too. Who do you think might actually not be confirmed?
Well, I think the two nominees who have the toughest paths to confirmation are Tulsi Gabbard, who's been nominated to serve as Director of National Intelligence, and Pete Hegseth, whom Trump has tapped to lead the Defense Department. Gabbard is having a critical meeting on Monday with Mark Warner. He's the top-ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee. And she's expected to encounter the opposition of former Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, who is very skeptical about her past statements that seem to echo some Russian justification for the invasion of Ukraine. Also, she took a secret trip to meet with deposed Syrian leader Bashar Assad back in 2017. That's another cause for concern. Hegseth, his problems have been, well publicized. He's accused of public intoxication, fiscal mismanagement when he was heading a veterans advocacy group. Of course, there's the 2017 sexual assault charge that he has to contend with, although his accuser has not come forward publicly, which Republican senators say is critical if it's going to derail his nomination. So they have the toughest paths. But as you point out, there are other controversial candidates in the mix. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head Department of Health and Human Services, Kash Patel to head the FBI, although Kennedy Jr. and Patel are drawing less scrutiny because really it's Gabbard and Hegseth who are getting most of the criticism at this point.
And Alex, here's the obvious question. We know that they're already being scrutinized. Will these nominees face tougher scrutiny at an actual hearing with witnesses, and will it be televised?
Well, the hearing certainly will be televised. Now, what won't be televised are the FBI background checks, which will be discussed among senators in closed-door session. And potentially what's most damaging to either Gabbard or Hegseth, depending on what's in that FBI background check, will be discussed behind closed doors. So the juiciest tidbits may not be there for public consumption, although it may be alluded to in public session. But we'll certainly get to see how this all plays out in public. It'll be riveting to watch. Hegseth's confirmation hearing is scheduled for January 14th. The others have yet to be announced. There's some suggestion that the nominees could be delayed because of how long it took to get an agreement with the Department of Justice to conduct background checks. But right now the situation is very fluid. So far, the candidates are the nominees are all alive, but that could change depending on what comes out publicly and in the background check in the weeks ahead.
Or the threat of what might come out publicly, as we saw with Matt Gaetz. Let me ask you this, though, Alex. Do Republicans even need Democrats to confirm these nominees, or can they do it on their own?
Well, Republicans have a 53-seat Senate majority, so it is a comfortable majority. There would need to be 4 Republican defections to derail any of these nominees, and that's why I think they're all staying in the fight, and they look to have at least decent chances of being confirmed. There are a couple of moderates who are likely to vote no on some of them, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, but beyond that, it's kind of hard to figure out who else would vote no. Now, people here in the Senate are looking very closely at Mitch McConnell, who is not very close with Trump, who is no longer in the leadership and has been described as kind of unchained, free to do as he wants.
But Alex, does he still have juice? Does he still have juice? Can he kill that nomination?
Well, his vote is only one vote, so we'll see whether he can bring other people along with him. The fact that he has such a tense relationship with Trump may undercut his influence a bit, but let's not forget he was Republican leader for a record 18 years. Mm-hmm. So he is very well respected here in this chamber.
I have to believe that Mr. McConnell still has a few aces up his sleeve. Alex Bolton, you and your team at The Hill power our politics here at NewsNation, so we thank you. Still to come, it's not just porch pirates you have to watch out for these days. Investigators are finding a rise in mail theft by postal workers themselves. We have the details after the break. And don't forget, tonight, Blake Berman hosts a special edition of The Hill this evening, as today marks a new session of Congress. That's at 6, 5 Central, only on NewsNation.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on giving you fast, reliable, nationwide coverage at up to half the cost of the leading carriers. But don't worry, we've got more than that going for us. Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example. It's the perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want with space-age metal housing, we got them. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we've got that too. We even have a flip phone, like the Iris Flip. We even have watches. I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet? Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
And for a limited time, new customers get their second month free. Call 1-800-730-5103 or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
She knows what she's talking about. Pick up the phone.
We need some help.
I know. I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. And if approved, we can have the money in our account as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. It comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges. If you have OCD and need help, you can get better with specialized treatment. Go to NoCD.com to learn more.
If joint pain from aging is slowing you down, Omega XL can help you get back in the saddle, just like it did for John Walsh.
Today I'm here at my ranch exercising some of my polo ponies. Got to be really fit to ride these horses. So as you get older, it gets tougher. I was starting to suffer some of that business, and then I ran into somebody who said, look, you should try Omega XL, and look what it's done. I feel better than I felt in the last 30 years.
I'm Reve Walsh. I'm John Walsh's wife. I ride fox hunters, and sometimes I'm in the saddle for 3-5 hours at a time. A lot of work out here.
I wouldn't have been able to do this. Muck a stall, throw hay, do all the things that needs to be done on a ranch a couple years ago. But Omega XL gave me the ability to get back in the saddle. It works great.
Once you try it, you don't want to be without it. Makes a huge difference.
It does. Take it every single day, and you know, there's a benefit. It's made you a lot nicer to me.
If you've been living with pain, it's time to get this special offer, the Omega XL, the joint health supplement that millions have trusted for more than 20 years. Omega XL, it's sourced from the green-lipped mussel, exclusively found in the pristine waters of New Zealand, some of the cleanest waters on Earth. Omega XL, it's natural, drug-free, and it's backed by more than 40 years of clinical research that show it really works. Try Omega XL today. Pick up your phone and call the number at the bottom of your screen right now for a special offer. Buy one, get two free. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3, a value of more than $100. But call today and you pay only $39.95. That's a savings of more than 60%. Plus, it's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee.
Try it. You got nothing to lose.
Call or go online right now to get this special offer. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95. Call now.
The opening day of Congress, an historic moment in America, and NewsNation politics powered by The Hill will take you there.
I'm Blake Berman. Join us for a special edition of The Hill.
Tonight, 6/5 Central on NewsNation.
Welcome back. 44 minutes after the hour. Right now, an investigation is underway into the theft within the U.S. Postal Service. Many across the country are concerned about porch pirates stealing their mail, but those involved in the investigation now say postal workers themselves are also responsible. NewsNation's Alicia Nieves joins us now to break this down. Alicia, it seems as though some people didn't take a job at the Postal Service to deliver the mail. They took the job to steal the mail.
Nick, that's kind of fair sentiment here, and one that is expressed by officials in this investigation. They've also given some insight into why these postal workers are committing these thefts. One is just good old-fashioned greed meets opportunity. The second reason, probably more concerning, is that there are actually criminal organizations that are tapping postal workers to infiltrate the postal system. Here's a direct quote from the USPS Office of Inspector General, IG Tammy Hall. She says, quote, criminal organizations are targeting, recruiting, and colluding with postal employees to move narcotics through the postal network and to steal checks, both personal and government-issued checks, credit cards, and other valuables in the mail. Now, some of the thefts that have been discovered through recent investigations, they're pretty significant. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, federal prosecutors charging 2 postal workers with stealing more than $1 million in business checks. Those 2 workers working at facilities in Virginia and North Carolina. Another investigation in Milwaukee found a mail clerk who was under surveillance looking into trays for greeting cards and that contained gift cards. That clerk then moved those cards to another tray during their shift and then placed all of the cards in a backpack. Mail clerks and handlers being allowed to carry backpacks and personal belongings while working or with sorting mail. This has been a major reason why these thefts are occurring, according to the investigation. And just one more example for you here in St. Louis, a mail handler actually stole 55 out of 150 packages from a mail truck. That investigation actually found that the mail handler, not just that one, but other ones, were utilizing each other as a sort of lookouts, if you will, and stealing items, stashing them in their backpacks and in their jackets. In total, in that St. Louis investigation, 7 workers either fired or resigned. Nick, showing just how widespread these examples, this situation is across the country at facilities. And the issue has been growing, according to the investigation, over the last 4 years.
Alicia, now that they're aware of what's happening and how this could be working, what are they doing to shut it down, and how are they recommending that customers protect themselves?
Yeah, that's the question that we are asking and the answer we want, right? One of the things that's being recommended following this investigation is a universal policy, if you will, at post offices and sorting facilities around the country where backpacks and other belongings are not allowed in areas where there is mail. Another effort that is being utilized around the country refers to kind of those master key locks at residential mailboxes after criticism and concern that the universal keys used for them have gotten into the wrong hand, perhaps, or are being used by some unscrupulous postal workers. Overall, 12,000 high-security blue mail collection boxes are going to be installed nationwide as a result of these investigations, and 49,000 electronic locks going to replace those old arrow lock keys, those universal keys around the country. One more really important thing is just repairing cameras in a lot of the postal facilities and installing new ones. We're told since May of 2024, about 18,000 cameras have either been replaced or added to postal facilities, hoping to kind of reduce this issue moving forward, Nick.
Alicia Nieves with the very latest in that U.S. Postal System investigation. Alicia, thank you so much. We're learning more about the victims in this week's terror attack in New Orleans, including a former Princeton football player, how his former coach is remembering their beloved teammate.
What if
if you could tackle your dog's itching, soft stools, and low energy? Millions of pet parents are raving about Dr. Marty Nature's Blend.
Such a huge difference in her health. More energy, more playful, no more pooping issues.
I'm Dr. Marty. I've been a veterinarian for more than 50 years. The dangerous ingredients added to many pet foods could be impacting your dog's lifespan. That's why I formulated Nature's Blend.
Now you can feed your dog wholesome cuts of real meat, vegetables, and fruit with no artificial preservatives or fillers. Try Dr. Marty risk-free. Go to drmartypets.com/TV.
If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably wouldn't show you how they're made, including this part, which is our favorite. Wow. And this is also great. Each pair comes standard with lenses that are scratch-resistant, anti-reflective, and UV protective. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing, covered when you got a plan through CarShield. Next, you probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2, plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3, when you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your covered repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-220-1741. 800-220-1741.
Not gonna happen.
That's it. I'm calling Kohler about their walk-in bath.
My name is Ken. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling about Kohler's walk-in bath.
Excellent. Happy to help. Huh? Hold one moment, please. The Kohler walk-in bath features an extra wide opening and a low step-in at 3 inches, which is lower than other walk-in baths on the market. The bath fills and drains quickly, while the heated backrest soothes your back, neck, and shoulders. Kohler is an expert in bathing, so you can count on a deep soaking experience.
Are you seeing this?
The Kohler walk-in bath comes with fully adjustable hydrotherapy jets and our exclusive bubble massage. Everything is installed in as little as a day by a Kohler certified installer. And it's made by Kohler, America's leading plumbing brand.
We need this bath.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Call 800-590-8843.
To receive $1,000 off your Kohler walk-in bath and take advantage of no payments until 2026.
The FBI is releasing brand new surveillance photos of the suspect in the deadly New Orleans attack. They're asking for any additional information on the suspect. We're also learning more about some of the victims of that terrorist attack. Among them was Tiger Besh, a Louisiana native who played college football for Princeton. NewsNation spoke with his high school football coach, who said Tiger was a very family-oriented person.
Tiger was an outstanding young man. If you just took his athletic accomplishments, especially in football, you can box it up right there. And that legacy alone would stand alone, and we'd still be talking right now. But Tiger was much bigger than that. He was charismatic. He was a leader. He was funny, extremely loyal to his friends, extremely loyal to the coaches and faculty and anyone around our St. Thomas More community. And so just a big loss for us. He was a great young man, definitely missed right now, and our community is definitely struggling. and just really sad about losing such a great young man.
I'm sure. And you did see him recently. Tell us about that. And the family. You know the family?
I know the family. Yeah. So just knowing them from coaching them, he's got. I taught 2 of his siblings. Great family. His mom's an alumni also of St. Thomas More. They're they're a St. Thomas More family through and through, and they're a tight knit group that we really love. Tiger came in for the Christmas holidays. He was living in New York. It was good to see him right before Christmas and visit with him a little bit and hear about what he's doing right now and the work that he's doing in finance in New York. And so that was exciting. As sad as the last 24 hours have been since finding out about this attack and then Tiger's passing, there's been some, at least for me, it's been good to know that I got to see him, and even better, that I know that it was important and that he was home, and he was home with his parents. He comes from a very tight, close family, a really great family. And so I know that at some point when they get through this grieving process, that's a little bit, I think it's going to give some comfort, is the fact that he was here and he did spend this quality time with them.
Catch Dan Abrams live weeknights at 9/8 Central only on NewsNation. New updates in that devastating Cybertruck explosion Wednesday. Authorities confirming to NewsNation the driver, Matthew Livelsberger, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head before his Tesla truck exploded. That explosion happening within 15 to 20 seconds of Livelsberger pulling in and parking at the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas.
We also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle.
Investigators are treating the event as a potential act of terrorism, though they currently believe it to be an isolated incident. In California, 2 people died and 19 others were injured after a small plane crashed through the roof of a manufacturing building in Fullerton, California. The plane crashing into the furniture building less than 2 minutes after takeoff. Those who died were believed to be inside the plane at the time of the accident. The identities of the deceased has not been disclosed. And Sports Illustrated names as Sports Person of the Year. Any guesses? We'll have the answer when we come back.
I knew the perfect coffee was out there, and I needed answers.
What are the finance bros drinking? How do they have energy all day with no crash? I need coffee that is healthy and legal.
Okay, I'll talk. Rise blends 6 adaptogenic mushrooms with the smooth taste of Arabica coffee, so you get the long-lasting energy without the crash. Why'd she even ask?
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. It comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges. If you have OCD and need help, you can get better with specialized treatment. Go to nocd.com to learn more.
When my hair started thinning, I didn't want to hear the wisecracks.
I was ignoring my hair because I was a full-time working mother, but luckily I found Nutrafol.
My hair was getting stronger and thicker.
And I finally feel like myself again.
If joint pain from aging is slowing you down, Omega XL can help you get back in the saddle, just like it did for John Walsh.
Today I'm here at my ranch exercising some of my polo ponies. Got to be really fit to ride these horses. So as you get older, it gets tougher. I was starting to suffer some of that business, and then I ran into somebody who said, look, you should try Omega XL, and look what it's done. I feel better than I've felt in the last 30 years.
I'm Reve Walsh. I'm John Walsh's wife. I ride fox hunters, and sometimes I'm in the saddle for 3-5 hours at a time. A lot of work out here.
I wouldn't have been able to do this. Muck a stall, throw hay, do all the things that needs to be done on a ranch a couple years ago. But Omega XL gave me the ability to get back in the saddle. It works great.
Once you try it, you don't want to be without it. Makes a huge difference.
It does. Take it every single day, and you know, there's a benefit. It's made you a lot nicer to me.
If you've been living with pain, it's time to get this special offer, the Omega XL, the joint health supplement that millions have trusted for more than 20 years. Omega XL, it's sourced from the green-lipped mussel, exclusively found in the pristine waters of New Zealand, some of the cleanest waters on Earth. Omega XL, it's natural, drug-free, and it's backed by more than 40 years of clinical research that show it really works. Try Omega XL today. Pick up your phone and call the number at the bottom of your screen right now for a special offer. Buy one, get two free. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3, a value of more than $100. But call today and you pay only $39.95. That's a savings of more than 60%. Plus, it's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee.
Try it. You got nothing to lose.
Call or go online right now to get this special offer. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95. Call now.
If you love cleanliness as much as your cat, you have to try Pretty Litter. I love that it's low dust and it traps smells, but that's not why I founded Pretty Litter. I made this litter with a built-in health monitor to let you know if your cat is experiencing a potential health issue. Visit prettylitter.com.
Before the break, I asked you if you had any guesses on who Sports Illustrated named as their Sports Athlete of the Year. Did you guess anything? Well, guess what? They named Simone Biles as Sports Person of the Year. Biles is a 4-time Olympian and the most decorated gymnast in history. The announcement comes after the 27-year-old's performance at the Paris Olympics. There, she secured 3 gold medals and a silver medal. She now has 11 Olympic medals, 7 are gold. She has also won 30 world medals, 23 of which are gold. And Biles has 5 gymnastic skills named after her. Wow, that's a whole lot. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nick Smith, but you keep it right here because my colleague Nichole Berlie is up next.
Simone Biles, first of all, so extremely talented, but we need to go back to that cover photo of her there. She looks fabulous, looks so good. Nick, you look so good too. Have a great weekend. Look at that. All right, News Nation Now is next.